in the movie Shot, starring this man, opens in theaters Friday and September 22nd. Good to see you, Noah Wyle.
Thank you, sir. Nice to be here.
Welcome to the program.
It's great to be here, and I was just saying in the break that being here is going to get me some serious street cred with my 14-year-old son, who's the biggest fan of the show.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No kidding.
And I told him I was going on it, and he's like, Dad, Dad, you know that you're going to have to talk about sports, right? It's like, yeah, I'll be fine. I know a little about sports. He goes, well, like in the 80s.
Oh my God! Wow. Well, we can talk sports in the '80s as well. Like you said that you
teed it up. You teed it
the
right
Super
up.
Bowl,
I was
right?
there at the Rose Bowl when the Steelers beat the Rams and Lynn Swann caught those 4 touchdown passes.
Beating Vince Ferragamo, right?
Yeah, that's right, Vince Ferragamo.
I remember being so excited, just to show you how my world of sports and pop culture always crosses. I once got so excited I saw Vince Ferragamo on the Hollywood Squares once. That he was an actual square. And I'm like, oh, it's a sports guy. There's Vince Ferragamo.
That's like, well, Fran Tarkenton, he did well.
Well, I mean, that's incredible, right?
That's right. That's incredible.
With him and I could go.
Joe Namath on the Brady Bunch. That was another crossover early on.
Well, that was huge because if I'm not mistaken, that was the famed Brady Bunch episode, "Not to Play Ball in the House."
That's right.
Right.
See, Owen, I can talk sports with the best of them, as long as they involve Brady Bunch.
Except
sports.
Now, would Owen say who's Joe Namath, who's Vince Ferragamo?
No, he's encyclopedic, my son. I don't, now that everybody carries a pocket computer in their hand, and it's not quite like studying the back of your baseball card that I did when I was a kid. But he is more savvy about this stuff, and maybe it's the fantasy league that he plays in. It's required reading to know these stats like chapter and verse. So he's very heavy.
Well, you never know, because I had my teenage-age nephews here a couple of weeks ago, and they stopped by here the show. And they walked through the hallway that you walked through when you came here, and we got photographs of some guests who were here before.
Yeah.
They went. They pointed to Kevin Costner and asked their dad, "Why is the general manager from Draft Day on the wall?"
Oh, wow.
And I had to sit my nephews down like, little Uncle Rich time. Let me talk to you about Kevin Costner.
That's good.
Well, I guess they haven't seen Field of Dreams yet. They definitely haven't seen Bull Durham yet. You know.
No, I would.
What is your favorite sports movie, Noah?
Oh my goodness.
If you had to choose, Noah Wyle.
There's
here on the
so
Rich
many,
Eisen
and I'm
Show.
such a sucker for them. But if I had to pick one, which you usually have to do in this situation, I go with The Natural. The Natural to me is an absolutely perfect movie.
Now, you were reading a Philip Roth book in the back, so you would definitely know that that's a book with Bernard Malamud book.
I have it. But I actually think it's one of those strange cases where the book's good and the movie's great. I just think that movie is flawless.
It is great.
Yeah.
You know,
it captures everything that you love about baseball as a kid, all that wish fulfillment, all that the dream of a promise unrealized and getting a second crack at it. It had everything.
Yeah, I know. And Wilford Brimley is the manager.
Fantastic.
Richard Farnsworth is the coach. Yeah. And then Robert Duvall is the awful...
As the sports writer who
tries the awful
to bring
media
him down.
man. Why do they always put the media like that? I don't understand.
Kim Basinger.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful.
And Glenn Close standing
Glenn
up.
Close, yeah.
Hell of a cast.
Yeah. I believe that was maybe her second film after Garp.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then I'm just
These
glad
are my stats, Owen.
I know.
These are my stats.
Look at you. So, but Noah Wyle here on the Rich Eisen Show. If you had like an old baseball card collection, which one?
I still have it. I still have my cards.
So then, what cards?
My
do you have
Dodgers were Steve Garvey, Davey Lopes,
of course,
Bill Russell, Ron Say, Dusty Baker, Kenny Lando, Rick Monday, Steve Yeager.
Behind the plate.
And
then on the mound.
And Sosha came in soon thereafter. On the mound, Jerry Royce, Bert Hooton, Bob Welch, Fernando's.
Don Sutton,
absolutely, before he went to the Astros.
So now, how old are you?
I'm 46.
Okay, I'm 48. So I'm a kid sitting in New York City, fired up that Reggie Jackson's hitting 3 home runs in the 1977 World Series.
That catch that Craig Nettles made going horizontal to rob Steve Garvey of what would have absolutely been an extra base hit was one of the daggers to my heart, my youth. And the fact that they put that photograph on the cover of Sports Illustrated that week, which I had a young subscription to, killed me even further.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So the 81 World Series, where Fernando and the Dodgers took care of Rigetti and the Yankees, and that ended Reggie Jackson's Yankee career. That was great for you.
That was pretty sweet. Although I'm one of the few people that in California actually bought and ate Reggie bars. Do you remember when they came out with the Reggie candy bar? Oh,
it was great. It was like chocolate and those Rice Krispies and caramel.
Peanuts. It was a bunch of stuff all like underneath a melted pile.
Yeah, they threw Reggie bars at him one day.
Yeah.
What happened to this sports fan, Noah?
I don't know.
Acting? Is that what happened?
the sports fan in me?
Yes. You're saying your 14-year-old saying, maybe.
No, I was an avid sports fan until around March 17th, 1993, when I walked into a soundstage on the Warner Brothers lot and started making ER and turning out 80-hour weeks for the next 15 years.
And that was the end of that.
And then somewhere in that period of time, I became a father, and that took over. And then I managed to sort of winnow all my sports interests down to just Laker basketball, which I managed to hang on through the Kobe Shaq years.
Even now?
Yeah, even now. Although this is a really kind of this is a very interesting transitional time for the Laker club.
Well, I mean, you got Lonzo Ball coming in, and that's this town feels like he is the second coming. I don't know if they're buying what LeVar's picking up or putting down.
I have been wrong before. But I tend to think of the Lakers as always being a center-dominated team, and when the Lakers are always at their best,
yes,
it's either Chamberlain or Jabbar or O'Neal, and we wanted Dwight Howard to work, we wanted Andrew Bynum to work, but I feel like we've been in a sort of holding pattern waiting for that big center spot to get filled, even though the game is changing and the style of the game is changing.
I mean, the Warriors don't need a center in that traditional sense that you're talking about right now.
No, but I don't know. Maybe it's just part of the culture I grew up with. I feel like that anchors us in a way.
Noah Wyle here on the Rich Eisen Show. So Clooney's a big sports fan. He's a huge Bengals fan, football fan, and Reds,
Reds fan. He grew up, the Big Red Machine was his team.
So there was no sports talk on the set of ER? That didn't happen?
Oh, yeah, we talked a lot of sports.
Okay.
He had NBA aspirations as a kid, as did I. We both were, he was out there in the back of his backyard shooting baskets like I was.
In Kentucky, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So you versus Clooney one-on-one, what do we have right here?
He had two moves. I imagine he still does, but it's been a while since I've played him. He could shoot the lights out from the top of the key. So as soon as he takes the ball and he's just raining him.
He's a chucker. So
what do? You step out on that.
Yeah.
You put your hand up, and then he does this little left-handed layup, this little scoop shot that I'm a big gangly guy. I've got arms like Abraham Lincoln, and I swear I couldn't swat this thing. Yeah. I couldn't find it. Mm-hmm. Those two shots were the death of me.
That was the end of that.
Yeah, that was the end of that.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of Shot, that's your new movie. That's Friday, September 22nd. Yeah. Tell me about this
nice
film.
Movie, little movie. It'll be enjoyed by dozens. It was one of those things that come your way, and you think to yourself, I like what this movie has to say. Moreover, I like the challenge it will present to me. I have been working in television for a really long time, which is financially very lucrative and occasionally creatively rewarding, but is also a great breeding ground for bad habits if you're an actor. And it's easy to get lazy. So every once in a while, I try to tackle a project that just scares the piss out of me. And I knew that after being a doctor for 15 years, how uncomfortable it is to be the patient. And I knew that this movie was going to be about me laying on a gurney and getting poked and prodded. The movie's called Shot. It's about a guy who gets shot. And it's a realistic look at how one single bullet can change the lives of everybody that's involved, not just the perpetrator and the victim, but everybody involved. And so I wanted to challenge myself and make myself as uncomfortable as I possibly could. And I accomplished all that.
Well, and again, that's in Shot, opens in theaters Friday, September 22nd. And you were great in Falling Skies, which I recall personally for me is my one and done experience being a reality competition host. I was the host of The Great Escape on TNT.
Oh, right.
Falling Skies was our lead-in, and we held hardly any of that audience. Thus, I was one and done as a reality competition host on TNT. So I wanted to personally thank you for the ratings I was unable to hold. So
I couldn't hold on to them either.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. And then A Few Good Men.
Yes, sir.
What in the world was that experience like? How old were you when you were on that set?
I would have been, let's see, that was 1991.
1992 was when it came out.
91 we shot it. I would have been 20 years old. I had never shaved my head before. I was playing a lot of pickup basketball in Poinsettia Park in Hollywood. And I remember the day I shaved my head, everybody treated me differently in that pickup game. Everybody used to beat the hell out of me in that game.
Right.
And suddenly I showed up with this high-end tight Marine cut, and they wouldn't come anywhere near me. It was like this one window where I was, you were a
jarhead.
I was a jarhead.
Don't mess with you.
And they didn't want to mess with me.
Right.
But I was the low man on that totem pole. That totem pole was Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, Kevin Pollak, Kevin Bacon. He went on down the list. Jack Nicholson. And I was talking about happy to be on the club. I was just there.
So was Nicholson around the set when you were there? Or
we overlapped one day. We didn't have any scenes together, but I watched him work.
But you're in the same courtroom together. So
I remember the table read-through. You know, table read-throughs are this sort of informal gathering where everybody reads the screenplay out loud for the first time.
Right.
And it's really kind of like just throwing it out there. You're not trying. And that was the energy as it began. And as soon as Jack Nicholson began to read his part, he gave the performance that he gave in the movie that day. And as soon as he spoke, it was like everybody at the table went, oh, we're really doing this. And it just went from here to here. And I remember thinking at 20 years old, this is what pro ball feels like. You know, I've been around a little bit, but I hadn't been on an all-star team before. And this is what it felt like, playing with people who will speak in shorthand to each other, know their job so well that they're painting with really fine brush strokes.
And pin drop, right? You can do pin drop?
Totally.
Damn.
Totally. No, it was masterful. That, and I spent a lot of time on that movie because I'd figured out he came to work at 10 and he wrapped at 5, and he got paid, I don't know, $5 million, and he was only on it for 2 weeks. So I'd spend out in my head, I'd think, how much does he make per second? How much, like if he spends 30 seconds peeing, how much did that, you know, dumb games.
Yeah, you're both Laker fans.
Huge Laker fans.
Yeah, lock in.
He sat down here, I sat up there. Yes, right. We got different perspectives on the team.
So now you go home and you tell Owen Wiley, you did very well on the Rich Eisen show. Yes, you may.
He'll be YouTubing it, no doubt.
You got
verify that.
Very good. Good to see you, Noah.
And you, sir.
You got it. Shot in theaters on Friday, September 22nd.
The Rich Eisen Show. Weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you like that video, be sure to download our app, and I'll be sure to move Week 6 games to Saturday for that wedding you have to go to.